Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me for another video. It is your host, Crypto Glenn. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you are here with me, and I appreciate it. Listen, this is the YouTube channel where we talk about crypto without any elongated intros. So let's get right into it. I'm sure some of you have seen this clip of Eric Geisen. He's a professor of economics at University of North Carolina, and he had a guest on, Zoe Cruz. Zoe Cruz is an American executive. She's been everywhere from, she got her formal education at Harvard. She's gone on to become a co-president of Morgan Stanley and do a litany of things after she left Morgan Stanley. She was actually at Morgan Stanley since the 80s. So she's been there for, quite a long time. She's one of these people that has seen a fair amount of things, and her opinion should be respected. However, I'm sure some of you have seen this dialogue between these two, and if not, I'm going to get ready to play it here for you in a second. And she said some pretty profound things. So here Eric Geisen is asking her, how would you basically go about investing into the digital asset space? And her response was fairly interesting. Let's take a listen.
But we know that, there are, I would say, zillions of cryptocurrencies around. And so, the obvious one is everybody talks about Bitcoin, but there is Ether, there is Ripple, XRP. So, when you diversify, because some might have, I think most people would agree that Bitcoin is kind of the lead example, but may not be the only one. And so, are you also thinking about diversifying within that group, or are you sticking to one?
So diversifying within that group. So the first step is a two-step diversifying. First step, diversifying from traditional asset classes.
Right.
And then the second, once you decide what is your risk profile, whether it's 3% or 10%, it doesn't matter. Diversify within that asset class of the top 5 to 10 crypto assets, cryptocurrencies. And to me, saying I'm only going to put Bitcoin, I'm only going to invest in Bitcoin because it's the current winner, or the digital gold, as they call it, is equivalent to say that in the early 2000s, you're only going to invest in one internet stock. And I don't need to tell you whether it's social media, Facebook didn't exist by and large. Netscape was the browser of choice with 75% market share. Right. Google is the leader now, and Netscape doesn't exist. So to me, it's the equivalent thing. I don't know, there will be winners and losers, but I wouldn't want to have Bitcoin end up being the Netscape of your investment opportunity.
It's interesting she said that. If you caught what she basically said was, because Bitcoin was the first one, it's the one that people gravitated to, and essentially, possibly, maybe she feels that Bitcoin has outlived its usefulness. Now, this is a common thing that you hear amongst people who are in the cryptocurrency space who tend to be fans of other cryptocurrencies, and that's fine, right? So basically what she's saying here is you should definitely diversify. But again, if you're I don't want to even say a seasoned investor, if you've been investing long enough, you know that that's, traditionally speaking, a good way to go about it. You want to diversify. You never want to put your eggs all in one basket. The only people that really do that are maxis, whether they be Bitcoin maxis, XRP maxis, Bitcoin Cash maxis, the Tron maxis. I still haven't figured out what's wrong with those guys. But basically, the information that she's sharing with us is what we call a non-revelation, right? A non-epiphany type statement. It's kind of general knowledge. But after she said that, and I meant to do this video yesterday, but after she said that, I saw this clip making its rounds on Twitter, on Telegram groups. I think when we invest in certain assets, and when we just make certain investments, period, whether it be precious metals, real estate, traditional asset classes, new age asset classes, we typically see what we want to see. If you're investing in this new asset class, the thing you have to be mindful of is essentially everybody is standing around at the roulette table. Of course, we're going to diversify. We're standing here at the roulette table. You know, we're all standing here at the roulette table, making our positions, whether that be one cryptocurrency, this cryptocurrency, that, XRP, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Dash, Monero, whatever the case is. We're all standing at this roulette table trying to make our bets, trying to make our positions before the dealer waves their hand across the table and says no more bets. So of course we're going to diversify. And she said what she said, and it started making its rounds on social media and started popping up on videos that have to do with cryptocurrency left and right. And I couldn't help but sit back and think to myself and say, blessed be the day where we don't allow hot takes on interviews to dictate our investment strategy. Better yet, blessed be the day where we're not so tribal that we forget what a few lines of code can do in this asset class. What a few lines of code can do to this technology. For example, a few lines of code brought XRP into the smart, or will bring XRP into the smart contract world. When most people talk about Bitcoin, they say the transactions take too long. It doesn't really have scalability. It can't handle as many transactions as another asset. I find it remarkable that a lot of people, maybe they genuinely think that we're going to wake up one day and Bitcoin just isn't going to be what it is now. Bitcoin is not going anywhere. And it's not going anywhere anytime soon. For the transactions argument, Lightning Network is going to speed that up, and Lightning Network is still being worked on. These developers are smart people. They're highly sophisticated people. What I honestly think it boils down to is, for a lot of people, $10,782.90 for a Bitcoin is just out of the budget. That's the psychoanalytical side to this investing game that no one really ever talks about. Game theory. When Bitcoin was, I can't even show it to you on this chart, but when Bitcoin was all the way down in the 3K range, right? There's a reason why all these markers and all these lines are here. This is when I was buying, okay? When Bitcoin was in the 3K range, what that said is, to get 1/10 of a Bitcoin, you just needed $300, a little over $300. With Bitcoin's current price now being at 10,078, 77, 66, well, I was moving all over the place, and we'll circle back to that. But it takes $1,000 to get 1/10 of a Bitcoin. And for a lot of people, that's not in the budget. And that's okay. That's okay. But again, we see what we want to see when we're investing in the things that we're investing in. We're going to talk about a few things here today, and part of what we're going to talk about is the Global Investor Conference, Digital Assets V2, that was sponsored and put on by Link2. And they had a whole slew of people, from Tim Draper. There's a reason why I mention him here in a second. But when we invest in the things that we want to invest in, we want to see the things that we want to see, because to us, it makes us feel like we're making the right investment. That's the emotional side. You're investing, leave your emotions at the door. But we want to see what we want to see, and because it makes us feel good. For a lot of people, Bitcoin is just too expensive to actually obtain. So we move to cheaper alternatives, XRP. And I'm not saying XRP doesn't actually have a value case or a use case, because it does. But what I'm saying is, a lot of people want to feel that XRP is going to be the only winner. And truth be, there's probably going to be 5 to 10. And I think probably counting Bitcoin out is one of the most foolish things you can do. a lot of speakers that were speaking at the Global Investor Conference, they had some people from XRP, some people that either had dealings with XRP, had been there at one point in time or another, maybe even still be there. And Bitcoin has this ability it's a target no matter where it goes. Everybody's when you're in that number one spot, everybody wants what you have. So there were some prominent people who were in attendance at this virtual conference. I'm sure Crypto Eddie was there. Digital Asset Investor was there. Brad Kimes was there. These are people that I'm sure you all listen to. And DIA, Digital Asset Investor, he gets an opportunity to talk to Tim Draper. And everybody knows Tim Draper is a huge Bitcoin guy. He believes in it. He believes in the crypto space. And he asked Tim Draper I'll let you hear it.
Talk about Bitcoin 1,000 times, but I have to ask you, are you an owner in Ripple or XRP or both?
Well, Ripple is XRP is the Ripple currency. Yes, I'm an owner of Ripple or XRP. I'm an owner of Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Tezos. I'm an owner of Aragon. I'm a believer. I think this it's happening. It's coming. It's so important for the world, and I want the world to know it, and I want other people in the world to get on board.
Yes. That's an interesting perspective to have there, Tim, because it is important. It is coming. It is here. And the world does need to get on board. But I think the Digital Asset Investor asked him that so he could turn it into a video and say, hey, look, guys, I've been telling you for a long time that XRP is the one. Guys, it's probably not outside of the realm of possibilities to figure out that XRP is going to be one of the winners. But it's not going to be the only one. It's not going to be the only one. I don't think most people feel that XRP isn't a winner. I don't want to speak for most people. The gripe that I have with the majority of the XRP community is just some of the overhypeness that comes across on the videos, okay? DIA asked that question because he wanted to go back and talk to his people and say, even Bitcoin people don't believe in Bitcoin. They want XRP, and it's like, that couldn't be farther from the truth. Again, we're all standing here at the roulette table making our positions. This one's going to win a little bit. That one's going to win a little bit. This one's going to win a little bit. Okay, that one's going to win a lot of bit. We are just here as early investors, early adopters, trying to have the most amount of return on investment as we possibly can. That's it. So when I hear people talk about how Bitcoin is this old, it's this dinosaur, it can't do it like it used to, I'm thinking to myself, if you don't think in the next bull run, Bitcoin is going to have one of the most significant run-ups it has ever seen, you've got another thing coming. The stock to flow ratio says that one Bitcoin, possibly after the next halving, is going to be worth $1 million or over $1 million. Now, I'm not saying there's not going to be any other winners, but what I am saying is Bitcoin is, man, it might be like Godzilla, one to rule them all in terms of value. And again, the Lightning Network, it will come and help facilitate all of the other arguments that people have. Now, just me being objective, there's things I don't like about Bitcoin. I don't like the fact that, China may in fact own the majority of the mining stake, and that kind of gives them control over how or what the asset does and how it performs. No, I don't like that, but that's a proof of work issue. That's not just a Bitcoin issue. Now, in that regard, yeah, sure, XRP may have somewhat of an advantage over that. But I'm looking at this from how does this translate into making me money? I'm not one of these guys who say, I'm solely in it for the tech. Yep, the technology is a nice aspect, but I'm ready to get rich. I'm ready to get wealthy. I've been a poor man. I've been a man that's had a little bit of money. I'm ready to be a wealthy man. And I see cryptocurrencies and digital assets as the perfect vehicle for making that happen, which is why I tune into virtual conferences like the Global Investor Conference that's going on today and tomorrow. I believe tomorrow is the last day, September 16, 2020. I'll leave a link below where you can sign up for it. It's totally free. Come in, listen, see what you can learn, and see what you can take away. Now, a part of the other video that I wanted to do yesterday was actually looking at, a lot of people, we want to know, when is regulatory clarity coming? Like, what's the holdup? I was doing a little bit of digging, and I think the United States, while they may be working on some things, I think there have been other countries kind of have been a little bit quicker to kind of get at least information out. And one of those countries is the UK. But before I play that clip, there is something that I want to show you. And this is actually from 2019. So it's actually close to a year ago, almost. Have a look at what one of the members from Ripple had to say about basically where the Q is going to come from in terms of regulatory clarity.
Why is regulatory clarity so important?
From a government standpoint, they want to know that they have an attractive regulatory regime that will attract innovation, new technological advances. That all leads to jobs, and that leads to tax revenues. From a business's standpoint, it's also very important. And that's because if a business is going to set up shop in a jurisdiction, they want to know that they will have certainty in what the rules are that they need to abide by.
What kind of jurisdictions around the world can the U.S. look to as a positive example?
I think one of the greatest ones is probably the UK FCA. They recently revised their guidance just a few weeks ago, and what they decided to do was come up with very clear definitions for crypto assets, and they came up with a definition for a utility token, an exchange token, and also for a securities token. And that, I think, gave the industry a lot of comfort.
I think she's right. I think it did give the industry a lot of comfort. And as you see here, the UK banks signed a fintech pledge. And basically what this says is some of the biggest banks in the UK have signed a government-backed pledge to improve collaboration with fintechs. Why is this important? Let's take a look. Even if we're just looking here in the first paragraph where it says the Treasury also worked in basically partnership with banks and fintech firms to pledge a designation to boost the sector by helping establish efficient, transparent commercial partnerships between banks and fintech firms. Now, what's not being said here, and I'm sure it actually says it down below, is you can't really have these partnerships that you want with banks and fintech firms because banks are heavily regulated. So in order for this to happen, there's got to be some kind of collaboration happening with regulators behind the scene. Basically, it goes on to say that within 6 months of signing the pledge to provide a dedicated landing page and name contract, as well as guidance and feedback to firms looking for partnerships. Okay. There's another article here that I want to bring to your guys' attention, that the European Union officially pledges action on stablecoins after calls for new curves. Basically, what this goes on to say is that, yes, we are talking about the actual future legislation for these digital assets. Down below here in the last paragraph, it says the European Union is expected to unveil a detailed framework for oversight of cryptocurrencies, stablecoins, and recent reports indicate the latter. So looks like the the European Union, I guess the UK is in the European Union, but they're finally going to actually start to have some kind of oversight on cryptocurrency. All this is moving towards more regulation. With that being said, this news broke yesterday that lawmakers are set to vote on 2 blockchain and cryptocurrency proposals. So it seems like the UK officially got the ball rolling, and now here the US is coming up behind them to say, wait, well, we want to have legislation too. We want to show the cryptocurrency community that we're doing something too to actually provide some more legislative and regulatory clarity on cryptocurrency. So all this is finally starting to happen. And again, from that video a year ago where the young lady, I forget her name, it escapes me at the moment, but she was basically saying if we turn to the UK, and the UK has been basically spearheading this whole entire thing, and now the United States is finally starting to put forth some goodwill and show some initiative here to actually get our own oversight and regulatory clarity established. I should probably go on to say that it's not the first time. I believe there was a representative from Ohio who originally sponsored one of the first taxonomy acts back in 2019. Didn't really get any traction. We've got a couple bills here that are on the floor. This HR 2154 and HR 3175, I believe it is, that they're on the floor. They haven't really had any co-sponsors, but again, this is all just trying to get the inertia going to actually get some regulatory clarity. So guys, we're close. We just need to hold on just a little while longer. So guys, what are we talking about here? We're talking about Eric Geisenstan and Susie Cruz, how they're, you know, that sound clip that was making its wave all across the internet. Yes, I don't want to say all across, but definitely making its rounds in the crypto sector on Twitter and on social media, basically comparing Bitcoin to being the Netscape, and it may die out because it's a dinosaur. We also talked about digital asset investor and Tim Draper's comments, and digital asset investor basically wanting Tim Draper to come out and admit, and he did, that he holds XRP. But guys, that's a non-epiphany like statement. Again, we're sitting here at the roulette table, we're making our positions. Just like Susie Cruz said, you should definitely diversify. Not only diversify from asset classes via traditional and new asset classes, but again, diversifying within that new asset class. So, you know, you're not all going to put all your money into Bitcoin. You're not going to put it all into Stellar. You're not going to put it all into Ethereum. You're not going to put it all into Litecoin or XRP, but diversify. And she goes on to say that if you have 2 out of 10 that make a moonshot, then historically speaking, you can be looked at as a great VC, venture capitalist investor. So again, this is all kind of, if you've been investing for a little while, you kind of already know the deal. You're going to, you know, diversify. You're never going to place all your eggs in one basket. And, you know, when regulatory clarity finally comes, we're going to hope for the best. Before we get out of here, I will say this, though. It's funny that we have the comments that were made about Bitcoin early on in the week and how it's compared to Netscape, yet and still we have tech giants, MicroStrategy, saying that it may buy more Bitcoin after purchasing $250 million of it. Pantera in the early stages of launching bull market fueled by powerful micro trade. Here's how high Bitcoin could go this cycle. So I think it's funny, just as we start to hear grumblings of people starting to count Bitcoin out, you get these entities and these people that come back and say, not so fast. Again, I think if anything, we should all be paying homage to Bitcoin because it is the thing that started us off. It's what got us here. It's the first thing that kind of captured everybody's attention. And, you know, if you're one of these XRP maxis or if you're, you know, Ethereum maxi, again, diversify. It couldn't hurt to have more Bitcoin in your portfolios. I know I hold a fair amount of crypto. I'm not, you know, spreading myself crazy over, 20 or so like some people, but I do hold a little bit. And if you're asking me which ones I think are important, I think it's the ones that you keep hearing about, the Bitcoins, the Litecoins, the Ethereums, the XRPs, and so on and so forth. No one's really talking about Fedora Coin. No one's really talking about Monero. No one's really talking about, Omize Go, so on and so forth, right? Be mindful of where you are placing your money. So the executives at Pantera Capital think that the future of inflation is probably going to be one of the more principal driving factors in driving the price of Bitcoin up over the next bull market. Joey Kurg, the firm's other chief investment officer, highlight the Federal Reserve's new policy for allowing inflation to basically run hot and possibly create an environment of stagflation. We heard about Cruz talking about this when she was on with Eric Geisen as well. Stagflation meaning you have investments that are coming in and they're paying you. However, the percentage, the ROI that you're getting on those investments isn't enough to outpace inflation. Thus, you have stagflation. So these guys figure that a lot of people are going to turn to Bitcoin due to its deflationary principles, again, which is a good thing. So those of you that are holding Bitcoin, if this pans out to be true, you're probably going to see a substantial increase in your portfolio values. And if this does in fact lead to an overall bull market, I'd like to see how this affects other digital assets as well. I've always gone on to say that I don't think it's going to be like the bull run that we saw in 2017, where all of the digital assets rose. I think this time go around, it's probably going to be a smaller scale of that, but the amount that the specific digital assets increase will probably be significantly higher. That's going to do it for this video, guys. I want to thank you for tuning in. If you haven't already followed me on Twitter, you can definitely do so at Crypto Glenn. There we are. Follower count's down a little bit. Again, guys, I took a little bit of a hiatus. There just really wasn't a whole lot to talk about. But anytime you want to connect with me there, you can definitely do so. Again, this is a channel where we don't have any elongated intros, but we may have some elongated outros. Again, guys, you can also join me and others at the linked to virtual investor conference for digital opportunities amid COVID-19. That's going on. The last day is tomorrow. I'll leave a link in the description below. Thank you guys for tuning into this video. I appreciate it. Be sure to like the comment. Leave me a comment or two. like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I look forward to seeing you guys on the next one. Peace.